Let's talk some hockey, shall we? And 90% of the time, that's probably a good idea. Shall we talk about the Vegas showcase?
Where do we begin?
Where do we end?
Yeah, that's a good point. We were off to a great start. Christian, you got that? Write that down. Chuck hasn't sung yet, so that's good. I think we need to do that. That sounds like a fantastic idea.
I like it. Glad we survived the Armageddon.
Yes, we did. Welcome inside Anaheim Ice here in Orange County, California. This is the report card on Facebook Live. Hello, everybody. I'm Eric Pesolano. You know the Iceman, Mike Perkins, the Laser, Chuck Lasik. We made it back from the desert somehow. We barely came back, but we made it. Let's talk about Vegas just for a minute. I like to reminisce. It was only a week ago that we were out in Vegas. We treated very fondly by the Golden Knights organization.
It felt like we were there for a week.
It really did, didn't it?
It was a long time.
Yeah. Things got real interesting the last day or so, didn't they?
Well, the great news is we saw some great hockey action. Yep. We had a chance to meet up with a lot of old friends, and we got to see the build-up and where Vegas hockey's at now from a year ago, which is very exciting to see their progression.
Yeah, Chuck, we had a lot of close games. We got to see a lot of tight hockey games. We're going to talk about them a little later on. What was your fondest memory from the weekend?
Oh, I'm not sure if I can put that on TV right now. No, I'm teasing. No, just everything. The camaraderie, just don't see a lot of hockey.
How about the Irvine Capital overtime game that I got to do the play-by-play on?
Oh, that was pretty good.
Well, I just have to. I had to mention that.
You know, you also have I think you can't. Who can go forget the famous Damien and the Vegas game too?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, well, I'm sure we're gonna recap that, but I mean, geez, I think it just ended about 10 minutes ago. So I mean, what else? I mean, I definitely. It's probably one that sticks in my memory because it's lasted the longest.
Yeah, we braved the elements going out there to Vegas. That car ride up there was quite treacherous.
Oh, you're going 90,
rain coming down.
95 and a rain-soaked road the whole way.
Snow coming down.
A great trip. I had a great time, and I'm looking forward to next year. I think we talked about it while we were there about how we were already looking forward to next year.
It's going to be a lot of fun. December 6th through the 8th, 2019. We'll be back for the third annual Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Vegas Showcase. It'll be a lot of fun just like it was this year. So, this is going to be our final, the report card from Anaheim Ice. It's another nostalgic moment.
Our final?
Our final.
You sure?
All right.
Barring any unforeseen circumstances. I think it's all
I've heard that one before.
Only twice, though.
Okay, all right.
Our final episode here from the rinks at Anaheim Ice, which has treated us so well. We did our entire season, save for one episode here last year, and most of our shows here this year, so it's been fun. But boy, do we got a venue to look forward to coming up soon.
This is definitely a great home. I've always enjoyed my time here at Anaheim Ice, but I think we're all looking forward to the great park and what that entails for high school hockey and hockey, obviously, in Orange County.
Yeah, it'll be our 7th episode of the season, January 19th. We move over to Great Park Ice and 5 Point Arena to bring you the report card on a lot of our game broadcasts as well. We got a doubleheader for you tonight over on Black Dog Hockey, so stick around for that. And then we got a few for you tomorrow as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But first, we want to welcome in our guests who came and drove down from a little bit north of here from Tahoe Hockey Academy. Head coach Mike Lewis, Liam Sutton, and Ellis O'Dowd here. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming down and joining us here today.
Thank you for having us.
So, Coach Lewis, I want to talk to you first about the program in its third year here with the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. How's the progression been since everything started and you guys have joined the league? How do you see your program developed here in these 3 years?
It's been a slow and steady growth. It's what we wanted to have happen from the very get-go. We wanted to have it where it was development-based, so we knew we were going to have it where it'd be blowing up right away. We thought it starts slow, but it starts small. The league here has been great for us because they've been really accommodating for us to come down to play some high-level competition and get our feet wet in terms of establishing our program. So in terms of the league itself, we couldn't say enough about what they do for us in terms of allowing our kids to kind of get into a structured development system, play some high-level competition, and for our program, it's been a slow and steady growth. So we're extremely happy, very happy.
So speaking of a slow and steady growth, I'd imagine that when everything started over at Tahoe Hockey Academy, you had a certain culture that you kind of wanted to base the entire program around. In these 3 years, have you found you needed to go in a different direction with the program, or has it always been the same type of philosophy since day one?
Yes, we wanted to have it where the program itself was just based around skill set development. We wanted to build hockey players first and foremost, rather than working on systems of trying to just build a robotic player. We know we're going to have the players for just a short amount of time, so we figured let's create a good hockey base, a good hockey program, and when they leave from us, they'll be able to basically carry on that no matter where they go. So
Ellis and Liam, can you talk a little bit about some of the team building stuff that you guys may be doing? You guys have a great spot in Tahoe. There's lots of places to hike and do things as a group and as a team. Can you talk about some of the things that Coach Lewis and Coach Fenn have you guys do from the start of the season through the end of the year?
I think that what Leo and Mike have us do here is they have us come together as brothers. So we have really a big brotherhood. Being an only child, this is the first time I've really felt like, wow, these feel like my biological brothers here, you know? And if you can get that to work, you can pretty much do anything you want with them in Tahoe. You can go hang out with people, you can go to the movies, you can do anything imaginable.
That's awesome. And how about you? Is there anything that you guys do in the locker room? Any songs to sing after a win, or chants, or anything like that? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we have chants we do before every game. Often led by older players that have been here and kind of done it all. But yeah, we've just been working on building a brotherhood, and it's a very tight one. We live together, so
That's awesome.
Like when you guys are here, what do you guys do? Like for the trips down to Anaheim during your off time, what do you guys do during the breaks?
in the breaks.
We hang out, we have fun, we do teenagers. Something they also offer in Tahoe as well.
What's it like what's it been for you guys this year to finally play some games in league play closer to home and not necessarily having to come down here every weekend to play league games like the program had in the past?
I think it's efficient. It's really fun to do because I've never really done that before. And to play it with a group of boys like I can call my brothers now, it's really I appreciate this opportunity and this experience.
Coach Mike, can you talk about what's next for Tahoe Hockey Academy? Where are you guys going? Obviously, you talked about the build-up, the growth. What are some of the next steps? Is there potential for new dormitories, new facilities, gymnasium or training area on campus? I know you guys have a large acreage there. Maybe there's something in the future, if you could talk maybe about some potential growth that in the future.
Sure. The campus itself is on 16.2 acres. We're in our first phase, which is the dorm itself, living quarters, kitchen, dining hall, lounges. Second phase will be a larger facility. We want to actually start growing to have and adding additional teams. That could be a girls program. We've been talking about an additional boys program, but that would be second phase. And our third phase would be more of a like a gymnasium, workout facility, and that type of thing. So first phase is complete. Next phase will probably start probably 2019 in the summer, and then keep going as we go.
Guys, I've been at the facility up there before. They were gracious enough. I came up there with one of my teams. We had dinner there. They had us over for dinner. It's just a fantastic place. The dormitories, the whole setting is just beautiful. And I can't tell you guys how impressed I was when I was up there. It was very, very neat.
Yeah. So obviously a successful program out of the gate coming here to the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. Last 2 years, the team gets to the championship game in Division I and just falls just a little bit short. What do you think, and this is a question for all three of you really, what has to be done to take that next step to raise that trophy at the end of the season?
It's tough. I mean, you got to look at who we faced. You know, Craig Johnson, he has an amazing program. He's a great coach. It's a great team. So you know for a fact that you have to go through him, you got to have your A game. Obviously, any given Sunday, but you know you have to be prepared because you know you're going to step up against him. So for us, it just comes down to keep working. You know, just keep our head down, make sure the boys believe in each other, believe in themselves. And we can make a good day on a Sunday. We'll take that chance and see what happens.
For the players, when you go out there, and of course you got a few games here this weekend, what are some of the details that you really want to focus on this weekend to make sure that you can take that step and move into a championship position?
You know, I want to focus on making myself a better hockey player. I also want to put in what I can for the team. I don't want to be a selfish player. I want to contribute as much to the program and to the team, and to help the team get to the championship and take the win for Tahoe Hockey Academy.
Got an Alice for you?
Yeah, I just want to contribute everything I can. give all the effort I could and help out my teammates.
What are your aspirations after this? You guys still want to continue playing hockey? You're going to use this as a stepping stone?
I want to use this as like a step to get to college hockey.
I want to use this as a stepping stone to make my mom and dad proud.
Coach Mike, maybe you could talk just a little bit about that process and the relationships that you guys have with programs past and beyond where you guys are at. Maybe some junior programs or potentially some either ACHA club teams or NCAA teams that you may have some experience with.
As we all know, I mean, hockey's a small community. You know, we're all kind of like a fraternity, so to speak. So it's all about networking, you know, getting the word out, calling friends that we know, kind of saying, hey, we have this type of player, does he fit in your program? If not, just start showcasing our guys. We don't want to have it where when the kids are done playing for us, we kind of forget about them. We want to make sure, obviously, as they move up the ranks, there is a place we can actually put them. It could be D2, it could be a D3 program, it could be juniors, different types of, obviously, Division I juniors, Division II. So it just comes down to, for us, talking to as many guys as we possibly can to get that kind of like that footing in place. So it is time to send a guy there, he can actually do well and stay there.
For Liam and Ellis, you guys remember what it was like to be new to the league and coming in. We got a new team in Division I this year in St. Mary's that's up north closer to you guys. What kind of advice do you think you would have for a new team like St. Mary's to be able to overcome when they step into a competitive division like Division I here in their first year?
Hey, keep your heads high, you know. It's rough getting into anything new, but I have firm belief that they'll have a bright future for the people of Stockton and for their players who want to play.
Yeah, and I'd just say like, come in like you've been in it before. Just go out and play well right after the game.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Come in here like you've been here before because you really need that to play in Division I. That's for sure.
Sounds like he's been coached by some people.
Oh, that's for sure. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty about on-ice activity. Coach, what do you love about your team, and what are some areas that you think they could work on?
I think coming from a lot of the guys coming from different programs, different areas of the country, different levels, it's really tough to kind of mesh that together when we're kind of used to out here in California. It's basically that tier 2, tier 3, you know what you're getting. So for us, it's about looking at skill set and kind of saying, where do they begin? Looking at a system, what can be the best for them to kind of fit in and have success. So this weekend's nothing more than getting up another barometer where we stand, from a team standpoint, from a player standpoint, and then it's back to the drawing board and keep working on the things that we need to start showing up.
Coach, the last couple seasons you began kind of low, and you're actually built like for the marathon. Not for the sprint. You guys started off slow and built. You guys kind of messed this up this year. You guys are off to a kind of hot start. Is this kind of messing with the thing? I mean, are we going to see a juggernaut come playoff time or what?
Like I said, our whole entire thing has always been slow and steady. I think we're having a little bit, the fruits of our labor are kind of showing early, but like I said before, the situation is it's how you finish, obviously. So for us, it is just stick to the game plan, which is basically just focusing on skill. If we do that, hopefully we get to at third time's a charm, you never know. But, we're just going to say, hey guys, listen, we're building what we do, and we'll go from there.
In town for a few games this weekend. You'll kick things off tonight in just a little bit against St. John Bosco. Got a tough Division II crossover matchup there. Gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll see you around the rink.
Great job, guys. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Mike.
That's head coach Mike Lewis and Liam Sutton and Ellis O'Dowd from Tahoe Hockey Academy, kind enough to join us here on the report card.
Watch out, they'll be in the finals again.
How many years in a row did you pick them as a dark horse? And we kind of looked and said, they're a new team. We don't know. Next thing you know, 2 years in a row in the finals.
I had it third time's a charm. I'm going with Coach Lewis. Third time's a charm.
He said, don't bet against Tahoe Hockey Academy.
What a fine group there, and well representing of Tahoe Hockey Academy.
Yep.
Mike Lewis is obviously a name that's been around Southern California hockey for a long time. He's now involved with Tahoe Hockey Academy. He's well respected. He's been around the block. Knows a lot of people here. So to see them here today, the young men do such a good job answering questions. We're firing some bullets at them, and I think it was funny because I could see Coach Mike was kind of enjoying the questions and seeing how the boys would respond. So it's always fun. It's always fun to see that how that works out when we interview young players like this.
I did love it because we asked them before we went on the air. You ever done an interview like this before? And both of them said, nope. It's going to be a lot of fun. And they handled themselves well and totally outdressed us, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I know, make us look like slouches, but that's okay.
You know, obviously they run a class program up there, and they're continuing to advance and develop and grow what their mission is. And look forward to seeing how they finish the season.
It's going to be a fun weekend for them. They got 3 games here. We're going to have them all on Black Dog Hockey. Mentioned they've got St. John Bosco tonight at 6:40. They've got Jay Sarah at 9:15 tomorrow morning, and then Damien at 4:55 tomorrow night. Good luck, boys. It's going to be a weekend.
Well, I will mention this, is that teams typically that have been to championship games before, they know what it's about in the following years.
Yeah.
And it allows for them to have success in games in the future. So I think you may be onto something, Chuck. You've called it the last couple of years. I think you're onto something here. I think they're cruising for something here. I'm not sure.
Especially in the Wild Wild West, where really,
Yeah,
it's a Wild Wild Division One. I shouldn't say West, but
I think Division I hockey this year is.
It's Patrick. Exactly.
You don't know.
Maybe Chuck knows this.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, trust me.
Oh, we just called them out on TV. I love that. That's so good. But we talked about Tahoe and how they kind of set up the season for a marathon, not a sprint, like you said. That's taking a page out of the old Mike Perkins playbook, right? Because the Jay Sarah teams knew, look, you can be great in the regular season, you can hang around and kind of check everything out. Everyone's going to the playoffs. You're in the tournament. It's just how do you handle that 3-game tournament?
Well, I've always been a firm believer of building for the end of the season, no matter whatever team I've worked with. And
No one remembers how you start. They always remember how you finish.
How you finish. Yeah. So we move along now. We're going to talk about Players of the Month in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. We're going to start in Division I. Brendan Williams from Santa Margarita, the sophomore, 3 goals and 4 assists in a game against Bellarmine last month, and an assist against Jay Sarah in their loss against the Lions. But he was far and away the standout for Division I, and I think it was pretty unanimous when we talked about who Player of the Month was
I don't
going to
even think
be.
there was even another name brought up at the D1 level at that time. Honestly, it was just like, okay. I mean, the kid basically came in, just torches. Is that Bellarmine?
Yeah.
Yeah, he torches Bellarmine. He comes through, and he also, he's an important cog when he's there. And I'll tell you what, Santa Margarita is not that much better of a team when he's in one.
well, let's not forget he burst onto the scene last year and was super dynamic and a big part of their program last year as a freshman. I expect even greater things from him this year. He's just getting things started right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The other 2 Players of the Month at the varsity division are joining us here today on the report card. Of course, from Division II in Capistrano United, Zach Lane is joining us, closest to Chuck, and Elijah O'Neill from Upland Christian Academy, who is our D3 Player of the Month. Boys, thanks for so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We know you're not close, and you got a little bit of a drive to come up here, so even more so, thanks for coming up, especially with no games here tonight. We really appreciate your time. Zach, we'll start with you. 5 goals in 3 games in November. Your team went 3-0. Just a great month for you. What do you attribute to your success there in the month of November?
I think our offense, and I think just being able to stick together as a team. We obviously had a couple close games, but we stuck together till the end, and just the bond between our forwards.
Had a great night a few weeks ago when you had the Michelin Award, the award named after your dad. You come out there, and you absolutely torched the ice, and you set it on fire. Did you look to him for some inspiration during that game and throughout the month? Because you certainly showed it on the ice.
Of course, November is Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Month, and obviously that night, I mean, I take every game serious, but it had the emotional aspect too, and it just meant a lot more to me. And all my teammates were gunning for me. It was a really nice night.
Can you talk about the jerseys and how those were developed and who came up with the idea for them?
Oh yeah, our manager, Mr. Townsend, he did an unbelievable job putting the night together and then just awarding the scholarship to Garrett Kennedy. He really deserved it. It was altogether an unbelievable night.
That's awesome. Mike Townsend's standing off camera too. He's right over there. We can acknowledge him. That's fine.
And then obviously Coach LeBay had a big hand in all of it too.
Yep.
Maybe you can talk a little bit about him and his involvement.
Yeah, Coach LeBay is an awesome coach. He really supports all of his players, even just from development with JV all the way up to varsity, and he does an unbelievable job.
Yeah, Elijah, let's talk to you here just for a second. In November, 4 goals and 2 assists against Vegas. You had 4 assists against Bishop Amat. The team wins both games in the month. You were setting the ice on fire as well. What about you? What do you attribute to your success in the month of November?
I would say our offense is a strong main, and we have good goaltending, which helps us a lot. Feel confident in ourselves to go forward. and of course the coaches help a lot. Coach Mike and Coach Chris really help the players know where to be all the time in the ice.
You talk about your offense. You guys have had a few games this year where you've scored in double digits. You guys going out there and putting up a touchdown or two on some nights. How has the offense of this team developed, even from last year to this year?
A lot. Players feel more confident in themselves, I think. More confident, so they're going up the ice and helping out a lot. And we have good defenses too, which helps a lot too. For offense to go forward. It helps. You always got someone's back to protect you. That something happens.
Can you talk a little bit about your coaching staff and how they implement the offensive side of the game in for you guys?
Yeah, our coaches help a lot. They tell us where to be. Practices, they tell us where to go. He has mindset. We know where to go. He helps the kids, talks to kids a lot, off and on nights. Helps a lot.
What's chemistry building like for you playing on UCA when you're a homeschool athlete? You don't get to see everybody all the time. It's basically at rink time. How do you make sure that the chemistry is there and allow yourself to be successful on a team when you don't get to see the guys as much?
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes, yeah. But we have a lot of team bonding stuff to do before and after practice. We meet up, we talk and stuff. And overall, we get along together pretty good. And it's a good group of kids. We all get along more as a family than a team.
Right. I could almost ask the same question of you, Zach, with your team being a district team as well, that not everybody's around everybody all the time as a team, a pure school, when everybody's at school all together. How do the Coyotes handle that situation?
We pretty much hang out at practice too, but during football season, when our schools play each other, we always make sure to say hi. And a lot of the boys go out to eat after practice, just hanging out together.
Cool. Elijah, your homes. What's your day like? Include hockey. What's a typical day for you, basically?
So usually I wake up, do some school, and then I go to the gym. That time I go to the gym, and I do some work when I get home, and then leave for practice. And then I'm gone until 11 o'clock at night because I have two teams. I play on two teams.
Oh wow!
So it's a lot of hockey.
A lot of hockey.
Zach, can you talk a little bit about playing for Capo? And a lot of the players that you're playing with are players that you played with or played against, and now you're on the same team at Capo with them, and what that's like.
Yeah, so I started at Aliso Viejo Ice Palace, and we all live in the same area, so most other people did. I know my dad coached a lot of them when we were younger, and it's obviously really fun playing with all the kids. Like last year, Joey Holman, I played with him when I was 4 or 5, and it was really nice winning a league championship with them when we were seniors and juniors.
You mentioned going to football games and saying hi to each other when you're there. What's the rivalry like between you guys when there is a game between your two schools?
There's some heated locker room talk.
Yeah, I can imagine.
A couple of wagers going on.
Oh wow!
Nothing too
Don't
crazy.
tell Chuck that. Don't tell Chuck that. Zach, talk a little bit about what it's like to, obviously you play club hockey as well. Talk about what it's like to go back and forth and the time commitment and some of the great stuff about being a part of your high school program, because that's something that's really special to you. I know that. I coach you in the club world, but I see how special it is to you to play with your school team as well and all your friends there. So talk a little bit about that.
Well, for example, I have a really good friend named Wyatt Allen. We don't play on the same club team, but because of high school, we got to play together. It's so much fun being able to play with him. And then another kid, Joel Sinari, he's on both of my teams. But I'm not his line mate on club, but he's such a nice kid, and I love playing with him. And he's on my line for high school, and we rip it up together. So it's nice being able to have the balance between. And then you also know 2 times as many kids, they're in your family, so you have that much more support.
And Elijah, same thing for you. You played club as well. What's it like going back and forth and making that commitment to being there for your high school team and really enjoying that side of it?
Yeah, it's really fun on both sides. I have a goaltender at Everett Bailey. He's a goaltender for my Ducks and my high school team.
Oh.
So it's always fun to connect with him and see what he has and play with him. He's a good goaltender, so we have a lot of respect for Everett. He's the net. We know he'll bail us out a lot of games sometimes with some big saves and the big moments. But yeah, it's fun playing on 2 teams and having it on both times.
Well, that's a huge time commitment for both you guys. You should be both commended for that. Hopefully you're keeping your grades up.
Yeah.
All right.
Speaking of grades,
Just checking.
what do you guys? What are your aspirations? Start with you, Elijah. What are your aspirations after high school? Okay, you want to use this for his next step, or?
Yeah, I want to play college hockey in the future for sure. I want to go to college for sportsmen. Hopefully go out of college somewhere out of state. It'll be a dream come true for sure.
I'm going to go to Montana State University for mechanical engineering, and I plan on playing club hockey there too.
Cool.
Bobcats, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
That was great. Great town.
It's scary that I know that.
Great town.
Is it?
Well,
yeah.
well, I mean, obviously it's a gateway to the mountains there and to Yellowstone, and just a beautiful community with a great campus there. Montana State's a beautiful campus, so I'm sure he'll really enjoy that opportunity. So, and his sister goes there as well. So.
Let's talk a little bit about on-ice mechanics here. We were out in Vegas, of course, for the showcase last week. And Zach, your line, along with Shane Dominic and Joe Stenari, we thought every time you touched the ice, you were going to score. What makes that line so successful for the Coyotes?
Obviously playing with Joel for club, but I've also played with Shane all 3 years I've played there. So getting to know him also helps. And we also almost have like a rivalry. We want to beat each other, but we're still obviously friends and we want to support each other. Yeah. But also that pushes both of us to be the best we can.
And being in Division II, you obviously have that target on your back. You guys were champs last year, so you come out. What do you have to do to defend that title going forward?
Well, like Coach Perkins says, it doesn't matter now. It matters that we beat them at the end. We obviously 0-3 against Pacific Ridge, but I think we can beat them. We just got to keep working and believe, and we'll eventually get there.
Only 2 of them counted, though, so it's fine.
Oh, all right.
It's still fun. Elijah, for you, your team is in Division III. It feels like there's a million teams in Division III, so of course you're going to play just about everybody once during the regular season. So when you go into the playoffs and you haven't seen everybody as much, how do you adjust going into seeing a team that maybe you haven't seen throughout the year?
Yeah, you have to go in the game 100%. You have to go in there knowing you have to win. It's all, do or die in playoffs. You have to go in there 100%. You got to trust your team for sure.
Who do you consider your rivals in Division III?
I would say Bishop Vermont.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I was going to drag. I didn't have to drag it out of him. He went right to it.
Hey, there's been some big UCA Bishop Vermont battles in the past. So.
Of course, they used to be the same program, right?
Who do you guys consider your guys' rival?
At first I thought it was going to be St. John Bosco from everything that happened last year, but I think we're gunning for Pacific Ridge.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
You mentioned Pacific Ridge. Let's rewind all the way back to the first game of the season down in Carlsbad. It was homecoming at a hockey game. What was that like being the visitors going into that building? What was that atmosphere like for you guys?
Unfortunately wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there for that. That's right, you weren't there for that one.
I didn't get to experience that, but I heard it was crazy. Just all the kids, the tailgate.
Oh, well then that's why. Yeah, he wasn't there. Well, there it is right there. You can turn that one on.
There we go.
Well, gentlemen, first of all, thanks so much for coming all the way up here on a non-game day. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on being named Player of the Month in November, and good luck to both your teams the rest of the way.
Thank you.
Great job, guys. Great job.
Zach Lane from Capistrano United, Elijah O'Neill from Upland Christian Academy joining us here on the report card. What a great couple of guys to join us.
Two fine young gentlemen. Obviously, both play in the Junior Ducks program and in the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League. And it's really wow, things were started and developed and grown. And to see 2 young guys like that get the accolades that they deserve and be a part of our big program inside the Ducks is pretty awesome to see.
We saw Zach just tear it up in Vegas, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like leaving streams of flames behind him. Honestly.
Big goal against Damien to win it.
That's exactly.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's I know we're recapping November. I wanted to get to it, but we'll save that for another.
Well, I was waiting for you to say something, and then Eric was staying away from it.
Yeah, I said, all right, I wanted to, I mean, that had to be
You're
fun.
here too.
Well,
No, I'm the one that gets in trouble. He's the EM, so.
I think you've learned that over 10 years. You're the one who gets in trouble. For those of you just tuning in, you're watching the report card here on Facebook Live on the Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League page. I'm Eric Pessolano. You know Mike Perkins and Chuck Lasik. Thanks so much for joining us here from the rinks at Anaheim Ice. Our last show from Anaheim.
What a great couple of interviews, though.
Oh, that was so great.
Tahoe, those boys did a great job, and
Yeah.
obviously Coach Mike, he's very well spoken and obviously well
We're also
respected.
training people to get ready for TV, too. For the TV.
That's a good point.
So
Coming up.
there's training all the way around. So
That's what we're here for.
Lots of development.
it's lots of development all the way around.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've had great interviews from everybody this year. Those might be the best. I'm saying that might be the bar.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I think those might be the bar. So congratulations to all 3 gentlemen who won Player of the Month in November. Brendan Williams from Santa Margarita Division I, Zach Lane in Division II at Capistrano United, and Elijah O'Neill from Upland Christian Academy in Division 3. All right, boys. Let's rewind the clock to last weekend, shall we?
Oh, boy.
Let's talk about the Vegas Showcase, the second annual Vegas Showcase from out in Summerlin, Nevada. We were at City National Arena bringing you the action. We had 9 games on our broadcast slate. There were 27 games played in all between the 2 rinks. And let's talk a little bit about some of them. We kicked it off with some JV action early in the morning on Friday. Damien beat Edison 5-1. Jay Serra, oh boy, they run Irvine United out of City National Arena 10-2. Pacific Ridge beat Central Cathedral 6-4. And then we had to broadcast our first game.
We just heard it just ended. Basically, we just came from the ice practically. Honestly, that game, woo!
We had some games, but that one,
That's going to be, that's going to be one we're going to talk about. That's going to be one you talk about.
I remember when it ended and we looked at each other and said, what are we going to expect for the rest of the showcase? How can we beat this? We had a couple that came close. We got to be honest, that was the game of the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Damien beats Vegas White 6-4, but the story in that one was the amount of penalties that were on the board in that game. 37 in total, 19 for Damien and 18 for Vegas White. And of course there was some suspensions handed out and the fighting that went on, but really the hockey on the ice was good, but man, it was the penalties that took center stage.
The guy went by the goalie and tapped him into it, and the guy had the goalie.
that game was so famous, it's infamous.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the more infamous in Vegas showcase history.
Oh, yeah.
Out of the total of 50 plus some odd games have been played in the 2 years.
After 2 periods, there was only
8. There were 8 penalties in the first 2 periods, and we had 29 of them in the third alone. I'm not sure we'll ever see something like that again, but hey, as we talk about, we see something new every day.
I heard some words between those 2 benches I'm still trying to look up. I can't find. I'm telling you right now, my goodness.
So now I know what to get Chuck for Christmas. That's the source. Let's do
I'm
that.
sure you'd find them in the source. So.
Division 3 action. Edison beat Poway 5-3. That game was on Friday as well. Capistrano United fell to Pacific Ridge 4-2. You heard Zach Lane allude to that one. Their 3rd loss against the Firebirds this year. This one was not a league game, so it won't count in the standings, but Olin Silverman comes out of nowhere, gets a goal and an assist in that one. He was named first star of the game, got the interview with Chuck Lasik afterwards, and the Firebirds, no matter who it is, they're stepping up, and as a team, are finding a way to the top of Division 2.
Exactly. I mean, we talked dark horse at the beginning of the season. Now they're the perennial right now. You have to give them credit. Doing a good job building a great program out down south there in Pacific Ridge. I call them the Ridge, down in the Ridge. And I think there's nothing but good things to come for that program.
Pack Ridge.
The Ridge. I call it the Ridge.
He likes the Ridge.
The Ridge.
I don't know if they like it, but hey, we'll go along with it for TV purposes. But Pacific Ridge last year in Division 2 ended the year 14 games under 500. And now all of a sudden, here they are, rocking near the top of D2. Zach Lane, who joined us, had a couple of goals in that game as well, but Patrick O'Donnell, who was our first player of the month in Division 2 to start the year back in October, stopped all 20 shots he faced in the 3rd period.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah,
he was.
And he has been all year.
I mean, he's a coyote killer, and that's what you have to call him.
Yeah.
Basically, a coyote killer, lobo killer, whatever you want to say. But honestly, he is the one that basically, he finally allowed his first 2 goals against Tampa United. It only took him, we kind of figured it out, something like 170-something minutes, or 100, no, it couldn't be that much. It'd be like 130-something minutes.
Yep.
So 130-something consecutive minutes or consecutive shutout minutes. Absolutely incredible. And that's not an easy team to shut out either.
No. He's just got one kryptonite.
Yeah, exactly.
How does he get by La Jolla Country Day?
That's true.
And this is why Division 2 is also a crapshoot.
Well, that's a rivalry game there.
Yes, it is.
It's like a Pac-12 school playing that's ranked high, but then they play somebody that's maybe on the lower end of the spectrum and they get beat, and everybody's like, how can that happen?
They know each other.
Well, they've been playing each other for a lot of years. They all know each other. They grew up together.
Yeah.
You never know what can happen in a game.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. So moving on, Central Cathedral beat Vegas 4-2 in the Division 3 matchup. That was a league game, so that will count toward the standings. And then the Golden Tones of Mike Perkins had the action between Irvine United and Capistrano United. A 5-4 win for the Warriors in overtime. Ryu Suzuki, a couple of goals. Josh Luigi with the game winner, and you heard him call it.
Well, Luigi and Suzuki together were pretty dynamic in that game, and it was just a matter of time before they really kind of, if the game would have gone maybe another 5 minutes, I think that those two would have really taken over the game, and we would have seen a little bit of a breakaway on the scoreboard. But because there was only a certain amount of time, it makes for some fireworks.
Yep, and we got to see overtime, and Luigi had that game winner. That was also a league game, by the way, so 2 big points for the Warriors in the standings. They move up to 3rd place in their division, so they're right there too. Keep an eye out for Hutch's crew.
Hey, I don't call too many games, but to be able to call a game like that sure is fun.
Especially when you were already almost losing your voice.
Well, I made it through though.
You did. You were battling illness that weekend too, going in. So he was a Warrior just like the Warriors were in that game, and they got the victory. And that's the worst pun I'll say today. You're welcome for that one.
That's pretty bad.
That was pretty awful. Damien beat Jay Sarah 7-6 in an overtime game. That was a JV game late on our first night. And then the last game we called, Jay Sarah's varsity team beat Vegas Gray 5-0. Lions made that one go to runtime, which is not something we expected. But Jack Ferletic, 26 saves in the game. Blake Reed doing Blake Reed things, 2 goals and assists for him. But for me, the stat of the game was Vegas going 0 for 8 on the power play.
Exactly, and don't forget that Ferletic actually gave them. They had a 2-man advantage for almost. I want to say Vegas had a 2-man advantage for almost like close to 4 minutes, and Ferletic had to bail his keister out of the park because he's the one that drew the 5-minute major right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we had him. Vegas. It's not like they didn't have enough shots. I think they had 18 shots on the power play.
19, yeah, 19 shots on the power
play. And Ferletic stoned them all. So I mean,
Jack definitely is a difference maker, but to me, the difference for the Lions is their defensive core.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, Hager, Tontat, Rudy, Hill,
Oh, Nathan Hill was big this weekend.
Lynch.
We'll talk about Hill in a little bit.
So right there, there's 5 defensemen right there that are high-end D, and really to me, that's going to be the difference for Jay Sarah moving forward. Is that D core and then the goaltending of Jack Ferletic.
No. So that was all the action from Friday. Moving on to Saturday, Edison beat Vegas 11-0 in a Division III matchup. Not a league game, but a big win for the Chargers there. Vegas White beat Poway 6-3. That was a D2, D3 crossover game. Again, not affecting the league standings, but still a fun one there. Then we got the rematch that we had waited for from last year when Damien beat Jay Sarah 5-2 in 2017. They come back this year, and we thought we'd get another classic, and it was for a bit, but Jay Sarah pulled away. They won it 6-1. Jake Hager, a couple of goals. Ferletic, awesome again, stopped 25 of 26 in the victory. But again, the penalties started to rear their ugly heads. Damien took another 14. Jay Sarah had 11 in that game.
Wow, yeah, exactly. I mean, no, it was chippy last year too, if I recall.
Yeah.
It was very chippy
Yes,
last
it was.
year.
So there's some pride on the line there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pride. So.
Even though it's not a league game, you can tell that when they get on the ice, they turn into a whole different mode.
Absolutely.
Especially those D1 matchups. Central Cathedral beat Irvine United 5-2. Not a league game there. Edison beat Capistrano United 5-0. We called that game. Garrett Dato and Greg Godfrey combined to get only 14 saves. That was all they needed, but they combined for the shutout.
No, exactly. And I think it was the defense that did well, and then on top of it, you had the great, forecheck. I think they jumped out to a 3-0 lead before it could even blink our eyes.
Yeah.
And after that, it basically cruised. I mean, Garrett Dato, we've seen that kid now for the last 4 years. Absolutely outstanding goaltender. But Godfrey's, he's coming up as well, so good things coming, looking good for Edison. Things are looking good for Edison.
Edison's a very good Division III team. We're going to keep an eye on them at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. A couple of JV games. Pacific Ridge beat Irvine United 5-0. Central Cathedral over Edison 6-2. Then back to varsity, a Division II game between Capistrano United and Vegas Gray. Not a league game, but an epic one nonetheless. A 5-4 win for Capistrano United in overtime. Yeah, Dylan Hoagland had the game winner. Got the interview after the game after getting that game winner.
That was an awesome goal. Hoagie picks up the puck on the near side, jumps up on the 2-on-1 and just scores low on the far side to win the game for the Coyotes. And I mean, to see a senior D like him make a play like that in a game like that, that was just fun to watch.
I think I changed my player of the game 3 times in the last minute, honestly. There was 2 lead changes in the last 30 seconds, was there not? Something? Yeah. So, I mean, that was an incredible game. That was probably the second best game of maybe the third. I mean, we had 3 just top-notch games. That was right up there amongst them all.
Really did. And Joe Stenari and Shane Dominic both had 2 goals and an assist in that game. We talked about that line with Zach Lane a little bit ago.
Well, let's not forget, that line wasn't together at the beginning of the weekend.
That's true.
That's true.
That was a change.
So you think Coach LeBay all of a sudden struck your goal right there?
Don't worry. I had a talk with Coach LeBay. I brought it up to him. I said, I see you decided to make a change and put those 3 on the same line. So Yeah, I had to chirp him a little bit.
Almost looked like some sort of a tic-tac-toe board when you were done with the score sheet. It was their 3 numbers just rearranged on every goal line.
Everywhere.
Every single time. A couple of varsity games that wrapped up Saturday night out in Vegas. Irvine United beat Vegas 5-0 in a D3 game. And then a D2 game, Pacific Ridge 5, Vegas White 3. And that brought us to Sunday. Just a few games on Sunday because, what do we call it, getaway day in baseball, right? As getaway day, had a few games in the morning. Poway beat Capistrano United 4-3 in overtime. We had the game JSerra Central Cathedral. It was a 5-0 win for the Lions in that one. Nathan Hill, I said we'd mention him. He had a goal and an assist, and he was one of our stars.
Yes, exactly. As Coach mentioned, it's nice to see the young guys get some. He's only a freshman too, if I'm right. Is he or is he a sophomore? He's young. He's young. Nathan Hill.
I think he's a junior.
Junior. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he's a junior.
But no, it was nice. With some of the unheralded guys. Not the Hager or the senior, like Roberts. Like Reed.
Forget Blake Reed.
I know him. I'm sorry.
You're in trouble.
How can you forget that name?
I know exactly. But seriously, it's nice to see that they're getting some support. Otherwise, besides basically the big 3.
I think you look at that game and you go back to what you talked about with JSerra and their defensive core. They held the Jets to 7 shots on goal in the game. That's what they do.
Well, when you have a D core like that, that's every coach's dream, right? That's where everything starts. You get all your offense started from your defensive core. You get all your defensive play from your defensive core, right? And if you have a strong D core, you can go a long ways. And JSerra happens to have that right now.
I should also point out Central Cathedral is undefeated in league play. They're in Division 3, but they hadn't lost, and then they come out and JSerra doing what they do. I know there's a bit of a gap in divisions. It was a 1 versus 3, but still, great performance there for JSerra.
I think for us, we were all excited to see what that matchup looked like.
Yeah.
Part of the good stuff about going to Vegas is some of that crossover hockey.
Yeah.
To see where D1 stacks up, where D2 stacks up, where D3 stacks up. And I think we really found out some things last weekend.
And Central Cathedral hung with them for a while. JSerra scored early. It was 1-0, but it was 1-0 for a little bit.
For a while.
Yeah, before JSerra finally was able to pull away. Last game that we got to call on the weekend, and the one that sent us off on the 15 back home.
They sent us off, and guess who's a part of that too?
Capistrano United over Damien 4-3. Zach Lane the game winner with 22.8 seconds left. I almost lost my voice calling that one. Joe Stinari had a couple in that one
and
for Capistrano.
Yeah, the big assist.
Yes, he did.
Yep.
The one at the end.
On the game winner.
That if I recall, you basically foreshadowed. I think you called that one moments before it was going to happen. He said, look out for these guys. The next thing you know, there's number 81.
Well, they got a 2-on-1, and Stinari held it to the last second and found Lane on the back door, and Lane's not missing that one, I'll tell you that much.
It was interesting being between the benches during that game, I'll tell you that much.
Oh yeah, there were some things going on. There was some equipment making some moves.
Oh yeah. There was some ghosts that all the anyway.
Oh, and then one other game, Pacific Ridge beat JSerra 5-2 in a JV game after we had left town to wrap up the weekend. But boys, it was a great weekend. We're so much looking forward to next year. We can't wait to get back. Do we petition to try to get 2 weekends out there next year? We talked about summer meetings.
True. Well, we might be going back there though anyway. So.
Yes, summer meetings.
So that was the second annual Anaheim Ducks High School Hockey League Vegas showcase from last weekend. Let's move on to action that took place here in Anaheim while we were out of town in Division 1. St. John Bosco in a crossover game beats Orange Lutheran 4-3. They get all 3 of those points. Lancers actually had a 2-1 lead in that one and gave up 3 in a row. Dante Terramani, couple of goals for him and his Inferno, as Chuck would say. Had a couple of goals. Luke Ellis for Orange Lutheran had a couple as well, but it's the Braves with the big win over a D1 squad. And we talked about how D1 stacks up against D2. It's becoming so much more equal.
It is, and that's a good game. But I will say again, I see Orange Lutheran getting better and better and better as their season goes on. So I'm going to keep an eye on them for the remainder of the year.
Look at the standings in Division 1. Damien's up top, 7-1 on the year with 20 points. They are 9 points clear of Santa Margarita, Tahoe, and Bellarmine, who all have 11 points in the standings. JSerra has 10. Orange Lutheran and St. Mary's at the bottom with 3 points apiece. You take a look at their schedule this weekend. A couple of D1 games here tonight. Tahoe's going to play St. John Bosco in a crossover at 6:40. We'll have the call for you on Black Dog Hockey. We'll see Santa Margarita and St. Mary's at 8:20 afterwards as well. 4 games involving D1 teams tomorrow beginning at 9:15 a.m. Tahoe and Jaycera. St. Mary's and Santa Margarita, they're playing a doubleheader against each other basically. That's a 1:05 p.m. start tomorrow.
9:15 tomorrow morning?
Yeah, didn't you get the memo?
No. Wow.
That's why we're here now, by the way.
And then we got a 4:45, Damien and Tahoe.
Yes, we do. And those will all be here in Anaheim. And there's one game down in San Diego, Orange Lutheran taking on La Jolla Country Day. That one might be interesting at 4:50 at UTC Ice.
I'll be interested to find out the score of that.
Yeah, that'll be fun. Division 2, we talked about Bosco beating Orange Lutheran. That was the only game involving Division 2 teams that was outside of Vegas. So we'll go straight to the standings for that one. Bosco, they're now at the top of the chain in Division 2, where they ended up at the end of last season before the playoffs. They've got 15 points, 1 point ahead of Pacific Ridge, who's in second. La Jolla Country Day is in third with 12 points. Capo has 11 points. They are in fourth. The top 4 teams are separated by 2 overtime wins.
Exactly. It's a battle. Don't forget, Capo still has a game in hand, too. So, I mean, they could just jump everybody right there and move themselves right up to second. So, I mean, as we talked about D1, Division 2 is just as much of a dogfight. I can't wait for playoff time because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Coming up, end of February. We're getting there. And then at the bottom, of course, of Division 2, you got Vegas Gray and Vegas White. Still a lot of time left for them to grab some more points. One true Division 2 game this weekend. It'll be on Saturday night in Carlsbad, Bosco and Pacific Ridge.
Ooh.
A battle for first place.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
That should be a highly contested game.
Yes. Sad it's out of town. Wish it was up here. Who scheduled that game?
Hopefully in the future that will be at the Great Park.
Now we're talking. Let's move on to Division 3. Division 3 was wild up here in Anaheim this week for the games outside of Vegas. We started with Corona Norco beating Servite on Friday night, 9-0. We talked about Buckley Roberts, who won Player of the Week, and it wasn't even because of that performance. That was the week before. He had a hat trick and 2 assists in that one for the Stingrays. Yeah, and Donovan Gutierrez added a goal and 4 assists as well. The Stingrays finding their offense all of a sudden. You have Tahoe as your dark horse every year? Mine's always Corona Norco.
Well, no, that was in Division 2. Did they play Division 3 last year? Or they were Division 2?
No, they were 3 last year.
Okay. But I think it's a better fit for them. Honestly, I've always liked the Corona Norco's teams and stuff like that. I love the uniforms. Just love the winning, though, too. And it's nice to see them actually scoring some goals right now. Dakota Risto is.
Oh, there you go.
How's that?
Moving on, another game Friday last week. Beach Cities beat Santa Margarita 14-0. Couple of touchdowns for them. Tommy Lang, 5 goals and an assist in that one for Beach Cities.
Well, Tommy Lang's a big boy.
Yes, he is.
He can shoot the puck.
Yeah.
So it doesn't surprise me.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure his dad, Dave, was right there watching every single one of them. All 5 of them go in. Joseph Barnaby had a hat trick and 3 assists as well for Beach Cities. Big win for them. Bishop Amat, this was on Saturday last week, 7-1 winners over Placentia Yorba Linda.
Esperanza did not brightly shine.
not on that day. PJ Lupercio, a couple of goals and an assist for the Lancers in their big win. And then Beckman beat North County 5-1. Braden Fleming, a couple of goals and an assist. The D3 games got out of hand somehow up here over the weekend. But it makes for an interesting race now. As you look at
lots of good hockey going on here all around. Whether we're in Vegas or whether it's here, it's in the middle of the season. It's getting to be a good hockey time.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a look at the Division 3 standings real quick. In the Catella Conference, Corona Norco is 5-0. They've got 15 points. They're 5 clear of Villa Park, who's 4-3-1. Beach Cities, here they come, 3-3. They got 9 points. So they are just 6 points out of first place. In the Douglas Conference, we talked about Central Cathedral being undefeated. They are 6-0 with 17 points in the standings. Edison is 3-1-1 with 10. Beckman is 3-1-1 as well. They have 9 points due to an overtime win. And Irvine United is 3-1 with 8 points. And my goodness, there are a lot of teams in this league. And I always get winded going through the standings because everyone now is competitive.
I almost fall asleep listening to you.
We used to only do the top half of every division doing standings, and now we've had to stretch it out because everyone's still in contention at this point.
I think that's good. I mean, parity's good for the league. To quote Pete Roselle, parity is good. Don't forget, though, we're going to have our top 5 coming up. All right, what's our next top 5 issue?
All-time regular season games.
Oh, my goodness. I think we might have seen maybe a couple in that Vegas thing. Who knows?
One of them was a league game, so we could add that to the list. There's a chance.
Yeah, there's a chance. There's a possibility. There is a possibility. You and I think, are pretty much set on number one.
Number one's in stone.
Yeah, it's
we're not changing
we're
number
not
one.
changing that one. And I actually, just as a little teaser, did anybody even win that game?
You know, I don't remember. I don't think anyone did.
Well, we'll talk about it later.
That was the worst skit we've ever put together in the history we've done this show.
I know. Hey,
Through all 17 episodes, 16 episodes we've done.
this is worse.
That was the worst.
That's the worst.
I'll just sit over here.
Yeah, exactly.
As you should.
Just look pretty. Do what you do.
You can see his chair is scooting over there to the right to get off camera. He doesn't want to be associated with us anymore. So, that's pretty much going to do it for our final episode from Anaheim.
Final episode.
Our final episode from Anaheim.
Well, maybe not.
Also, my favorite moments when we do this show
I
is
think this is going to be
when the Iceman argues with somebody off camera.
Yeah, exactly.
Or when you argue with somebody off camera.
That's true.
well.
And when I say somebody, it's always Christian Hilton.
Yeah.
We know that much.
It could be the commish.
Or the commish. Commish is back there too. He's being the executive producer that he
But I
is.
believe this will be the last. I'm just going to call it right now.
I agree.
This will be the last.
Our next show is January 19th. We're moving to the Great Park in Irvine. And also how we react to what people off camera tell us. We try to keep it together and it never works. Like Matt said, we'll go to Great Park after the buffet. That's what's going to happen. January 19th at Great Park Ice in 5 Point Arena will be our next episode. Everyone here at Anaheim Ice has been great to us, getting us the tables, the chairs, setting up everything, letting us invade their space. Austin Mader, our Director of Operations, a big one to thank for that as well.
This has been a great home, and obviously we'll be missed, but there's still going to be lots of high school hockey here.
Moving on up.
Yep. We're still going to call a few games here from this facility and now I'm getting stuff thrown at me from off camera. I almost called it.
In Irvine. We're moving on. Hey.
Whenever you're ready.
All right, there you go.
We'll still call games here from Anaheim periodically, but most of the operation will move to 5 Point Arena and Great Park Ice, so it's going to be a lot of fun down there. Special thanks as always to our Trottier, who, by the way, his baby project is that Great Park facility, so thank you to him. Matt's winding up.
The pitch.
I caught it. Hey, we found tape. We were usually out of it. Now we're wasting it. That's great. Now I got to thank the commission. It's the order I always do it after he's throwing stuff at me. Thank you to Matt Blanchard for helping us set up everything here from Anaheim Ice. Of course, to Andy Dickerson from Black Dog Hockey for us letting us use all of his equipment. And all those video clips that you see during the show, he's the one who cuts those together. So thank you to him for that as well. Thanks, Andy. The mothership from up there in the Bay Area, of course. All right, for our
way past the Bay Area. He's way up there. He's near the what do they call those mountains up there? Sierra Nevadas. He's up there. He's way up there. Yeah. Just letting you know.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate the geography lesson too.
Hey, you know
Thank you.
This is. Hey, but one thing we forgot to do. Happy holidays, everybody. Honestly, we're coming in. This could be a
That's
lot.
right. We're not back until the new year. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Kwanzaa, whatever it is. Happy holidays and enjoy.
Yeah, everybody have a safe holiday. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah, absolutely. To our cameraman and technical director, Christian Ilton. To the Iceman, Mike Perkins, the Laser, Chuck Lasik. I'm Eric Pesolano saying so long for the final time from Anaheim Ice. This has been the Report Card on Facebook Live. We'll see you January 19th, everyone. Bye-bye.
Boom.
Boom.
Take that.